Hey there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Adam and today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider liking, subscribing, and maybe hitting that notification bell too. Let's get started with today's first story. Much love, everyone. Today's first story comes from My Sister Stole My Wedding Day and Venue. Bridezilla story. My fiancé and I have been together for 8 years and engaged for 3. I was doing my PhD program and was juggling planning the wedding. My fiancé took much of that work, but it was perfect because our dream venue was booked till after my graduation. So what we did is booked our dream venue 3 years in advance. It is really a beautiful venue. The only slot we got was September of this year. My sister got engaged a few months ago to her fiancé. They were planning on having a spring wedding next year. They had no venue lined up, but had a few vendors lined up as well as a set date, so our parents invited us and our significant others to a family barbecue, where my sister announced to all our extended family that she is expecting. Everyone was so happy for her and my brother-in-law, who is a great guy. My nan asked my sister if the wedding was still on the said date or if they were going to wait because of the baby. She said, no, that she hoped to move it to September, no big deal. We don't have many out-of-town guests, so they could attend both weddings no problem. Nan was happy and asked sister if she needed help planning such a short-notice wedding. My sister then turns around and said that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I was really hoping we could take your venue. I really cannot stress myself too much with planning a wedding while on maternity classes, and I think it is so beautiful. It would really mean a lot to me. It went silent. Everyone was looking at me expecting me to say yes, of course, everything for my little sister. My brother-in-law looked very uncomfortable and told her that they'd had taught them this and that it was not okay to put me on the spot, but my sister just said, don't be like that, my sister wants to do what's best for me, so it's no big deal, right? I just said, well, it kind of is. I don't know. I have my heart really set on the venue. Cue the crying. She stormed off. Nan told me that I was being selfish because she needed the venue more than I did. I tried to defend myself and my mother said you waited 3 years. Would it have killed you to wait a few more months? When has your sister ever asked you for something? A few comments later, my fiancé got really mad and we left. My sister called me crying and said that it was unfair that I always get what I want and that I could have done this one thing for her. Dad said it was just a venue and what matters is the person you are marrying. He is kind of right, but we have been planning for so long. My fiancé is furious with my family and doesn't even want my sister to come now. My family is threatening not to come because I'm being selfish and my sister needs it more than me because having a baby is too stressful. So later my brother-in-law called me and apologized for the inconvenience. He told me he had discussed it with my sister and she had told him she would not ask. He is properly mad with her now and warned me that my sister is blaming me for potentially ruining her wedding. My father has sent me 5 texts along the lines of I hope you are happy your sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday and so on, and so on. My fiancé and I have decided to boot my sister from the bridal party and replace her with my aunt, who is the only family member that took my side. We have not decided whether or not we will invite my family as a whole. Furthermore, my mom took it upon herself to tell on us. She called fiancé's parents and told them that it would be best if my sister gets it, because she is pregnant and preeclampsia runs in the family, whatever that means. My future father-in-law told her to F off and basically ripped my mom a new one for expecting something so ridiculous and that they were going to lose me if they kept playing favorites. So my mom is now crying too and saying that my father-in-law is a butthole. The whole thing was so pathetic it seems straight out of a bad soap opera. My in-laws came over to our place with dinner and wine and told me not to worry and that no matter what happens, they will be my safety net. I cried of happiness and that's part 1. What do you guys think? This is ridiculous. These guys are really prepared for their wedding. They booked the venue 3 years in advance and now short notice, just because the sister is pregnant and she wants to have a shotgun wedding or something like that. She wants to take the venue away from her sister. I'm guessing this girl lives in Planet Mimimi. It's all about me. Anyways, let's move on with update number 1. My sister saw this story while browsing on Reddit. She lost her mind. She accused me of painting her to look like a loony and misinterpreting facts. She said that I was being unfair, that she is family and that she asked nicely because she loves me. She also said that the opinion of internet strangers doesn't count because family is more important and I should focus on making my family happy. The only text I sent back was this: I am sorry you perceived it that way. I did not in any manner distort what happened. As you might notice, I didn't describe your tone nor exaggerated anything. Perhaps you have that night different in your mind than I do, but I digress. I am sick and tired. Bending to your will my whole life. I have been your servant and your doormat. Remember all the birthdays I had to share with you because you would throw a tantrum because you didn't get any presents or when you cried so that I would fill out job applications for you. But the thing that hurts me the most till now is when you ruined my graduation. I am done. I admit that I also spoiled you, but I will not any longer. If you want to get married so bad before your baby is born, then you could look at hotels that offer last-minute weddings. I have spent too much time planning my wedding to gift it to you, and if you want to ruin our relationship over this, then go ahead. I will sleep sound and safe. Knowing that it wasn't my fault, she only sent me a wow. You must love me very much and blocked me. She unblocked me later to send me this. This is a text conversation between Opie's wedding planner and the crazy sister. Let's see if I could read it out in German and then I'll read it in English. Hello, leave a blank. A happy knack, thanks from Dynamo to a hard-on unsexy mix, afford anti-humble leader, Canton Kosten to Schleck staff that via Dina mean, often fit crack and Emerson calm. Dr. Morgan, in bureau, for by permit fear, then no effort lag on Tisch Ivan Keenan Liebe. Closer aha thus is not all of effect. It's been Morgan joined by OMB War, and this roughly translates to the wedding planner saying hello dear. I got the message from your mother and will proceed with the rebooking of the venue on the spot. However, this will have extra costs as we have to change the names on the contract. Please come by my office tomorrow, so we can sign the new contract, and the sister replies, that's great, I'll be there at 9 o'clock. My parents haven't actually written me since the thing with my father-in-law, my older brother. He lives in another city and wasn't at the barbecue. He initially could not come to the wedding because of work and changed his plan. After hearing about all the story, he contacted me and wanted to know what happened, because he got a weird story from Mom and Dad. Mom had told him that I had offered previous to the barbecue to give up the venue to my sister and that I humiliated her. I told him what really happened and he had no problem believing me. We talked a lot about our parents' behavior, and he confessed that him moving was partly due to our parents being, and I quote, asshats to us. He told me that Mom had gotten wind from the post and was mad at me for betraying my family. I haven't written my parents because I have to come to terms with the fact that they love my sister more than me. If they love me at all. Regarding the wedding, we put passwords with the majority of our vendors and also with the venue directly. We hadn't talked to our planner yet, which is why the text from my sister worried me so much. Also, we cancelled the catering that my parents paid for so short term. We won't be able to get a full catering like we wanted to, but all our friends and my fiancé's family will help us prepare a buffet, and everyone is going to chip in. That will be our bachelor party since we'll have to spend more on food and we'll have a family and friends cooking session. After this, we called the planner and she was actually horrified. She told me she never had as much as talked to my mother since the day we went to book the venue. She assured me that, even if they were to call and say that I wanted it, I had to be present to make the changes. So we informed everyone that will work for us on our wedding and they offered to hire security for that day at a reduced price. Whoa! The plot thickens. That mom sucks just as much as that bridezilla of a sister that Opie has. I mean, calling behind your sister's back to try to snatch the venue away from her using your mother's authority or something. God, that woman deserves a punch in the face. She sucks. Anyways. Okay, let's continue to update number 2. A few days have passed and we locally sorted many things out. Passwords were set with the vendors, security had been hired, recipes for the family and friends cookout had been chosen, and I started therapy. Sadly, some upsetting things happened as well. My sister, of course, was brigading against me on Facebook, making constant passive-aggressive remarks saying that I made her depressed, etc. I have received many messages from her friends, saying that I am a b for treating her there. I won't mention what happened to brother-in-law. He wants to tell his story once he is ready. I blocked every attempt at online harassment and my sister as well. Then my sister and her best friend egged my car. I called the police and my neighbor, whose hobby is to look outside the window and spy on people, identified them both. You would think that my parents played favorites to avoid my sister's meltdowns, or that she might have been diagnosed with something and that's why they baby her. Well, no, turns out. My sister is just a butthole. No medical history, no diagnosis. Nothing. Now to the part that had me fuming. After not talking to my parents in several days, they called and asked if we could talk things out. I was worried but agreed to meet them with my fiancé in our apartment. When they arrived, you could tell my mom had been crying and I honestly felt bad for 10 whole minutes. We started chit-chatting awkwardly, then we began talking about the matter. My father first asked us why we canceled the caterers, to which my fiancé responded that we didn't want to have anything they could hold over our heads, and they immediately looked surprised. Dad acted offended and said he would never do that, to which I said better safe than sorry. My mother continued with calling me disrespectful for talking in that manner to them. I called them disrespectful for all they had said and done. Over the last few years, we got in a heated argument about the venue again, to which my father repeated that it doesn't matter where you get married, but the person you're marrying. Yes, I simply said yes, that exactly, but isn't it weird how that only applies to me and not my sister? As long as she is marrying brother-in-law, it doesn't matter where, right? It was dead quiet, and my father was red like a tomato and gasping for air. Like a fish on land, my mother was quietly crying again, so I said, well, I am waiting for your response. My father slapped his hands on the table and went on about family and sacrifices and how a loving family should do what's in their power to make each other happy. I just responded like how you tried to make me happy on my graduation day. You know, when my sister smashed my cake because she wasn't in the limelight. Quiet again. My mother quietly said, "Why do you hate us so much?" I looked at her and said I could ask you guys the same thing again. Nothing. My parents knew they had effed up, but they were not ready to admit it. My mother tried to guilt-trip me by saying that my sister is miserable, that she hasn't gone out in days because people judge her too much. My father went on a tangent about how my little sister just needs more time and attention because she was the youngest, etc., so basically excusing her behavior. I told them that I felt hurt because I now saw that they were so blatantly biased that they didn't even try to hide the fact that they loved my sister more. My mother tried to say, "That's not true. We love you all the same." I don't accept that. I opened a list I had written on my phone, where I had written every point I could remember about them putting my sister before me. It was a very long list. Some had dates to it. Some were more specific situations. When I was finished, my parents were horrified and nearly in tears. They wanted to start explaining again how I was wrong, but I said that this conversation was leading nowhere. They either set family counseling up for us and apologized to me, or they won't be invited to the wedding. They left and haven't called since. Ah man, being at that moment where Opie was reading the list to her parents must have been epic, just to see their faces change, to actually see their shame and guilt, knowing that they effed up on parenting their kids and favoring one over all of the others. Let's hope they learned the lesson and are willing to change it in the future. Unfortunately, it's too late, a whole lifetime has already passed and Opie is not having any more of it, and so now we reach the final update number 3 after I last spoke to my parents. They did not let go of their position. I was the bad guy. I was responsible for my sister's depression and her failing relationship. It went so far that I had to block them and change my number as they were contacting me from relatives' phones and so on. It was a real bummer, especially during a time that should be so special. I was harassed by my sister and her entourage on Facebook and Instagram, so I simply deleted it. It was a mentally draining time, but my husband's family and friends and my brother helped me get through it. I had basically cut off every family member that had given me crap for keeping my wedding date. My nan came to my door a few days before the wedding begging me to let her come. I had a long talk with Nan and she ended up apologizing, even though she still failed to see the logic in switching weddings, but she did not want to pressure me and wanted to be there for me. We hugged it out, but our relationship is not back to normal yet, and so we get to the wedding day. The morning was really good and relaxing. My bridesmaids and I got ready. We drank some Prosecco and took pictures. My dress fit perfectly and I just looked gorgeous. But then came the time to leave for the ceremony. We were at the venue taking before pictures with my friends when I saw my sister's car approaching the venue. Admittedly, I was crapping my pants or well my dress. One of my friends runs to the venue to get one of the security people that we hired. I really didn't want any drama at my wedding. She had been angry crying and as soon as she saw me, she started screaming obscenities. Apparently, I am a filthy bee that made her fiancé break up with her. The thing to explain is that in the mornings, the plants are always watered at the venue by some of these sprinkler systems. Thus, the earth was a bit muddy. The next thing happened really fast. My sister bent down to take mud and was getting ready to throw it at me and my dress when my maid of honor sprinted towards her and pushed her so that she fell with her butt into the flowers. The security officer arrived seconds later and removed her, and with that I had enough ammunition to file for a restraining order against her. I didn't even want to file a police report at this point. I just wanted her to stay away from me. The rest of the day was just amazing. I married my best friend, the love of my life and just my rock. My brother walked me down the aisle. We all cried at the vows, it was just spectacular. Of course, I missed my parents, but it is what it is. The celebration was very funny. My husband had learned a choreography to a Taylor Swift song with his groomsmen, and the speeches were hilarious. We left for our honeymoon and when we came back, I decided to start looking for jobs in a different city. I got a new job at a university in a bigger city and we are currently in the process of moving, but maybe the biggest change is that I'm pregnant. It is a classic honeymoon baby. I am really excited. This was not something we planned for a few years, but we are ecstatic regardless. I have only heard through people in town about the rest of my family. My sister is still going around telling people that I was the reason brother-in-law broke up with her and that I was trying to dog her or some crap like that. She has moved in with my parents again and refuses to work. Nan told me that the last time she saw my parents, they looked exhausted because my sister was behaving like a baby. I guess their parenting is catching up with them. I can only say that I am really happy right now. It hurts having lost family, but at the end of the day, cutting out toxic people is the best I could do. I now have a husband and a honeymoon baby on the way, my very own family, oh, and a shiny backbone. Epic result, awesome. OP, awesome story, I'm really happy for you. It sucks that you lost your family in the process. Hopefully, your parents will now understand and turn around. Hopefully, your sister can grow as a person and understand how much she hurt everybody with her stupid, entitled behavior. Almost Bridezilla of a sister blew up your family because of her mimimi behavior, and the fact that your parents supported this just made it worse. Congratulations on the nice wedding. Congratulations on your baby, and let's hope the future is fantastic for you guys, and that's all I've got to say about this. I'm going to turn this one over to you. What do you make of this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time mean the world to me. So thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.